to Super Tuesday, presented by Progressive. This is the SEC on ESPN. The 18th ranked Kentucky Wildcats in town to take on Vanderbilt for the 199th time inside Memorial Gymnasium. Glad you're with us today in Nashville. He is Jay Billis, Kevin Fitzgerald with you. Kentucky in town, off to a fine start, 12-3. Both these teams have supremely talented guards. For Vanderbilt, if it wants to pick up a win against Kentucky for the first time in 6 years, needs a big day from Scottie Pippen Jr. again.
Well, especially since Vanderbilt's without Rodney Chapman, their lead guard, who is unavailable for this ball game. But Scottie Pippen Jr. is an outstanding guard. He can handle the ball as a point guard. He's an excellent passer and a fantastic scorer. Led the SEC in scoring last year. He averages over 18 points per game, over 21 over his last 8 games. He can shoot from the perimeter, he can put it on the deck, and he does a great job of getting to the free throw line. And you know you're having a good stretch when Oscar Tshiebwe is not the lead story, but Ty Washington is playing some great basketball. He's taken over for Xavier Wheeler, who is unavailable after that injury he suffered against LSU. He responds by having 17 assists, a Kentucky school record against Georgia. He's going to have to handle the ball for the most part against this Vanderbilt team. He did an excellent job against Georgia. You can expect he's going to do about the same. A very mature game, especially for a freshman.
Anytime you're erasing John Wall's name out of the record book and rewriting that means it was a good day. The 17-17 on Saturday, a win against Georgia. And away we go inside Memorial Gymnasium. Excellent officiating crew on hand. It's Doug Shows, Tony Green, Keith Kimball as well. Kentucky on this side in the blue, Vanderbilt in the white, and here is the big man, Oscar Tshiebwe, the junior, having a breakout year, and he's got that hook shot off the window and in.
Tshiebwe just ducks in, and if it's going to be single coverage, he's going to have a field day.
There's that starting 5 for Vanderbilt. You mentioned it, Rodney Chapman is out. He had only played in 5 games after suffering a knee injury in the preseason, so it's Shane Dezzoni with making his first start of the year. Meanwhile, for Kentucky, there's Davion Mintz. He makes his first start. As you mentioned, Xavier Wheeler is out for a second straight game due to the neck injury.
Well, Mintz was a starter last year. He was Kentucky's leading scorer, leading assist guy for a team that only won 9 games. And how many games in a row is it that Ty Washington has knocked down his first 3? I think that's 4 games in a row.
Boy, he is poised, the very unflappable 5-star freshman. The terrific numbers this year. There is Pippen right at the bucket. Too strong off the window.
Beautiful drive off the high ball screen. Just couldn't get it to fall. And those are shots. You know, Vanderbilt cannot miss layups, and they certainly cannot turn the ball over.
There's Washington attacking again.
You know, Ty Washington, Kevin, has got such a mature game for an 18-year-old. It is really remarkable. John Calipari calls him the silent assassin, and there are times when you say, boy, it's a quiet this many points or a quiet this many assists, but it's because he doesn't force anything. It seems quiet, but his consistency speaks really loudly about how great of a player he is and is going to be.
A quiet school record, if that's even a thing, a couple of days ago. Late in the shot clock to turn around Jay. There's Shane Dezzoni, and he gets Vanderbilt on the board. 7-2 start.
Dezzoni's a combo forward. He can post. Prefers to go left, but he can handle the ball and even initiate some offense. And Vanderbilt runs great offense. I'm not sure there's a team in the SEC that runs better stuff than Jerry Stackhouse's Vanderbilt Commodores.
9-5 this year. They just won 4 straight before a frustrating loss on Saturday here to South Carolina. Look who's open. Tshiebwe.
Yeah, you cannot overhelp, or you're making a tough 2 into the easiest 2 imaginable. You know, Scottie Pippen Jr., who is playing the point guard, is going to have to really take care of the basketball. That's too easy off a simple ball screen. Just not up on it. But the last 3 games, he has had 18 turnovers, 14 in the last 2. If he does that again today, forget it.
Yeah, too many. Tshiebwe contested at the rack. That was Quentin Malora Brown, who was there to affect the jam. Here's Pippen, the step back, wants another, and drills a second straight three.
Laura Brown set a terrific drag screen in transition, almost a random ball screen, and Pippen wide open off of it.
Off the Keon Brooks miss. Tony Green says jump ball.
And Laura Brown just got that left hand in there on the ball. But watch this just in transition. Laura Brown just sets a screen, and Tshiebwe is trying to take away the drive. A little step back. That's awfully easy in transition, but you see a lot of those drags, double drags, basically a double ball screen in transition. Those can be difficult to guard. You really have to communicate.
Miles Studi rattled out. There is Tshiebwe. Averaging better than 15 rebounds per game. The nation's leader. Washington again.
Just under control. Strong drive went into the defender, but still on balance to be able to take that shot. He's got a lot of game. There's really no holes in his game as a first-year player.
And Jay, look, the 3 of 3 start from the field. He can hit the mid-range. We've seen him attack the basket as well. He's Kentucky's second leading scorer. Averages nearly 14 a game.
Top 5 in the league in assists as well. Just Tshiebwe just looking to go to the glass. Thought he was going to shoot it.
Great start for that man.
Well, Ty Washington has got everything. The nice step back, but how about how he stayed in balance through the contact? Good start for Ty.
Jersey Nets from 96 to 99. That man was the 3rd overall pick in the NBA draft in 1995. He dropped a couple of 30 pieces on the Nets back in the day. Jerry Stackhouse did.
Well, Jerry was a great player, and John Calipari doesn't need his resume to be recounted. He's a Naismith Basketball Hall of Famer, one of the great coaches of all time. But Jerry Stackhouse is one of the outstanding emerging coaches, I think, in college basketball. His offense and his schemes are impeccable. Just does a great job, I believe, especially with offense. And this team forces a ton of turnovers. They're good defensively.
You're right on. They have been disruptive this year. Defensively, they've taken a step forward. Top 25 in the nation in terms of turnovers forced per game.
Another high ball screen. Got a switch.
And there's Studi in the corner. He's better than 40% from 3. Tshiebwe with another rebound.
But this is where Kentucky's dangerous, is in transition.
Washington fouled.
You know, even without Xavier Wheeler, who was injured in the LSU game when a backcourt screen was set against him and nobody called it out, he's got a neck strain, and Kentucky doesn't want to rush him back. He worked out today in practice. He didn't participate, but worked out. But he's the speed of the team. He can dribble, advance it as fast as anybody in the country with the ball in his hands. But without him, Kentucky does a good job, I think, of passing ahead and pass advancing the ball and get down the court quickly.
That's the major luxury that John Calipari has this year. He's got 2 quality point guards, not just Wheeler, but that man as well. Tyrone Ty Washington, now 9 of Kentucky's 13, just 5 minutes in.
And Kentucky bringing some full court pressure. There are different reasons that you bring full court pressure. You can do it to speed the game up, make different players handle, but you can also do it to slow the game down and reduce the amount of time that Vanderbilt has in the half court to run offense.
Shot clock down to 12. Tshiebwe with the steal and the bucket.
And those are the turnovers that Vanderbilt cannot have throughout the course of this game. You cannot defend a run out.
And this is the SEC's highest scoring offense. Kentucky goes about 83 a game. There's Trey Thomas, number 12 in the white, off the bench into the game for the first time.
Small guard, but can shoot it. He had 5 threes and 15 points against Arkansas in that great win.
Missed 3, tip back out. New 20 for Vandy. Jermaine Mann, not that time.
And 3-point shooting, not a strength for Vanderbilt. Has to be the right guys pulling the trigger.
Oh, Tshiebwe Just the right position on man, and he's got 8.
It is my contention that Oscar Tshiebwe is always open. It's just a question of the angle. So he didn't have the angle when the ball was on the left wing. They passed it to the top, and he sealed off man, and they just threw over the top of Jermaine Mann to get that easy bucket.
Thomas can't stick the 3. Loose ball foul on Kentucky, so it's going to stay here.
Now, he's not open there, but he just gets the position. When the ball went up to Keon Brooks, that's where there's got to be more pressure on the pass. If Scottie Pippen Jr. is up there putting pressure, maybe you take away that vision, make that pass more difficult. But that's way too easy for Vandy.
Well, Jay, Washington and Tshiebwe with all of Kentucky 17 to start this game.
Kentucky doing a good job staying home on Scottie Pippen Jr. He's being guarded by Kellen Grady, the transfer from Davidson.
Oh, a contested make, difficult shot. That's the 3rd triple for Pippen.
Well, good offense beats good defense, and Pippen can make contested shots and really good at getting to the free throw line.
Oh, look at that duo, by the way. 7 of 8 from the field to start. Washington, one more, no. It's Brooks with the opportunistic slam.
Wait, what a hesitation move by Ty Washington to get all the way to the basket. That was almost a rocker step hesitation.
Here's the SEC second leading scorer. That's Pippen. Thomas cut off nicely that time by Grady.
The size of Grady took away that shot initially from the smaller Thomas.
So now it's Wright improvising, lays it up. Offensive foul.
You know, in today's college game, anytime you leave the floor and you're going forward like that, you're going to give up a charge.
First foul on Jordan Wright.
Kentucky's going to get a little baseline cut and a duck in.
This is Jacob Toppin into the game. He finds Davion. Mintz splashes another 3-point. He has been terrific shooting the basketball in the last couple of games.
That's just really good offense, Kevin. They ran that little baseline cut, got the duck in from Tshiebwe, and then Mintz was wide open in the corner.
Jermaine Mann lays it in. That's the sophomore's first bucket. Mintz, wild pass. And then he's whistled for the foul afterward. Boy, 9-point lead, though, for Kentucky in the early minutes.
When you draw help off of a drive, that doesn't just affect the drive, it also affects the offensive glass. Nobody there to block out Keon Brooks Jr. Easy, too.
Well, Junior's off to a fine start tonight for Vandy. He's got 9 points. There is Scottie Pippen Sr., who's in attendance. He was here on Saturday to see Vanderbilt and South Carolina. He saw his son reach the 1,000-point mark in person earlier this year. Yeah, there's that big six NBA titles for Pippen, who's in the building tonight.
Came out of Central Arkansas, one of the great players of all time. They call him two-way players because of his ability to score, and just a great defender, multi-positional defender. Those two went against each other quite a bit. Jerry Stackhouse back when he was with the Sixers, and Stackhouse was the only Michael Jordan teammate in the NBA to outscore Jordan as a teammate. You know the last teammate to outscore Michael Jordan before Stackhouse did?
Who you got?
I think it was James Worthy, Big Game James, in 1982 at North Carolina.
Good company.
It's kind of hard to outscore Michael Jordan.
Well, this is Stackhouse from Kinston, by the way. What were you saying? He was kind of UNC all the way. The closest thing he was to coming to Duke was maybe attending a Duke practice when he was a high schooler. That was about it. There's a foul on that shot attempt. And that's what Scottie Pippen Jr. does. He is exceptional at drawing fouls. Typically at the rim. That time it's from deep.
Well, he uses that shot fake really well. And very good off the dribble excellent handle so he can get into the lane and draw that contact, but he spends a lot of time at the free throw line.
He takes about 6 or 7 a game, top 30 in the nation. Remember, coming up next right here on ESPN, top 25 battle in the SEC, Auburn and Alabama tipping off at 9. Alabama's trying to make it 3 straight against Auburn, and there you go. There are the Tigers have ascended into the top 5, their highest ranking in more than 20 years.
Well, it's really Auburn and Kentucky, in my view, as the 2 best teams in the Southeastern Conference, and I think the SEC is the best league in the country. But that's a huge game for Alabama, especially after losing to Missouri. In this league, you have to protect your home court. It is so hard to win on the road.
Pippen Jr. with the steal, and Bryce Hopkins fouls him.
After that last timeout, you can tell that Vanderbilt trying to pick up their defensive intensity and put more pressure on the ball. This is a team that forces about 17 turnovers a game. And in the first 8-9 minutes of this game, Vanderbilt really hasn't put a lot of pressure on Kentucky. Kentucky was 9 of their first 12 and able to run their offense pretty cleanly early on.
Tyron Lawrence into the game.
Great fake.
Studi, step back. A high arcer, and Hopkins with a strong board.
But Hopkins is an imposing physical forward. He is going to be really good. I mean, this Kentucky team is an older team. They've got a ton of transfers. Yeah, that's a bad take there and a good turnover for Vanderbilt. See if they can convert.
Thomas can't. And so Vandy 3 of 11 from deep. You outlined that before. They really do let it rip from deep. They'll take about 25 or 26 shots from outside, but problem is 31% from deep. That's all.
There's that dribble drive weave out top.
Toppin that time had man leaping with him right in his face. It stays here. Knocked out by Vandy.
Toppin was excellent in the ball game against LSU, especially in the first half. He got fouled there. It just wasn't called. The amount of contact and physicality in college basketball this year has been absolutely stunning. The players are playing through it, but it's really amazing the things that are being let go. That should have been 2 free throws for Jacob Toppin.
Instead, Grady inbounds. From the mid-range that time. Toppin got his hands on it out of bounds, though.
When Toppin came into that game against LSU after Xavier Wheeler went down, he had 13 points in the first half against the Tigers, and his energy, I thought, was a huge lift to Kentucky. And they really battled when they were down Wheeler. Ty Washington compromised in the second half. Foul trouble for Tshiebwe. He still had a great chance to win it.
There's Melora Brown for 2 more. But that is certainly the strength of this Kentucky team. Toppin, a guy who comes off the bench, energy guy, actually picked up his first start of the year on Saturday against Georgia.
Well, this is an older Kentucky team. It's the oldest team that John Calipari's ever had in the Bluegrass State. And it's the first team he's not had to teach how to shave. They know how already.
Late in the shot clock, Kellen Grady. No.
Boy, what a difference in the defensive intensity for Vanderbilt the last 3 possessions.
They're on a 6-0 run as well. Looking to add to it. Lawrence had it. Out of bounds. Stays here. Last touch by Kentucky.
Melora Brown is not a big-time scorer as the center for Vanderbilt. But when they do throw the ball into him, he's a really good passer. He's actually the 2nd leading assist guy, and he's got a very good assist-turnover ratio.
Good ball fake. Thomas rises and swishes. Trey Thomas.
You have to stay down on fakes because Vanderbilt is going to throw a lot of shot fakes and ball fakes at you. Easier said than done.
And Jay, now a 9-0 Vanderbilt run to get back in this one.
It's really started with their defense. Look how they're right up on everybody. Great pass.
Keon Brooks absorbs the contact. Melora Brown gathers it. Vandy has a chance to take a lead with a triple. Baseline drive, reverse. Shane Dezzoni can't finish it.
Can't let him refuse that double ball screen. Got to send him right into it.
Brooks kicks out, up top to Washington. Mintz turns, the leaner, no. And Melora Brown with back-to-back rebounds.
A good job to battle both Brooks and Tshiebwe. Looked like they had the inside track to that rebound, but Melora Brown kept going after it.
Here is Vandy, 9-5. They've already matched their win total from a year ago. You already outlined the Arkansas win, a big one last week. They've beaten a good BYU team as well. Had won 4 straight before the loss on Saturday. And Thomas connects again.
I think we mentioned Thomas had 15 against Arkansas, hit 5 threes. Had a bagel against South Carolina, but he's aggressive in this one.
Team.
Thanks, guys. All right, Jay, look at this. 11-0 Vanderbilt run. You think it stemmed from some of the defensive work we've seen from the Commodores lately, huh?
Yeah, the last probably 6-7 possessions, Vanderbilt's defensive intensity has really ratcheted it up. They're right there on the catch, better pressure on the ball. They've stayed with cutters. You know, the first 8-9 minutes of the ball game, Kentucky was doing just about whatever it wanted. They started out 9 of 12 from the field. They're now 9 of 17. By my math, they've missed their last 5. Little trap in the corner.
Here's Oscar Tshiebwe. Grady fires off balance 3. Book it.
Well, anytime, Kevin, that you double in the post, the first question that you have to ask is how do you feel about open shots? And if Kellen Grady gets the open shot, he's going to drill it. Coming into this game, he was 25 of his last 50 from 3 over the last 6 games. He's the best three-point shooter in the league.
Yes, he is. And what a luxury it is to have to chuck it out to. Now it's a Vanderbilt turnover.
Trey Thomas came off to double team Tshiebwe, and the pass came out, just one dribble. And I think Kellen Grady needs to be even more aggressive hunting his shot, because that opens up so many other things for his teammates.
There it is, 45% from deep this season. He'll make about 3 a game. This time, the floater drops through.
And because he's got that deep shot credibility, now he can drive it because the closeout is going at him hard to take away that 3.
An incredible career. The 4 years at Davidson, a 4-year starter, more than 2,000 points there. And his 5th year in Lexington, he's made quite an impact.
Keon Brooks just picked up a foul there. Trey Thomas was setting a little back screen on him after hitting the high post, and he just got run over.
There's Pippen Jr. Second leading scorer in the SEC. Averages better than 18 a game. Man collects, floats it up, rebound down to Tshiebwe, now with 6.
Vanderbilt's got to hit those little chippies. He got a switch at Davion Mintz on him.
Mintz into the paint, bounce pass, knocked away. Look at the hustle from Tshiebwe. Grady collects it. Boy, bodies were flying all over.
What a catch.
Toppin to Mintz. Got it.
Boy, Toppin just, that looked like it was going to Tshiebwe. Toppin just jumped in front of him to catch it and got it cross court. That was a great play by Jacob Toppin.
Boy, a chaotic sequence moments beforehand. And Mintz, who has been deadly from 3 of late. He's now got 2 from deep this evening. Stays here.
Vanderbilt needs a little bit more action off the ball. Just a great catch by Toppin and an outstanding pass to a wide open Davion Mintz. And Mintz over his last 2 games has been excellent. He struggled early on in the season to find his shooting touch, but the last 2 games averaging almost 18 points a game, 8 of 15 from 3. Now the prior 6 games he was 5 of 26 from 3. So he has found his touch. He is a well-rounded player, transferred in from Creighton.
Now in his 6th year, off balance fadeaway, no go that time. John Calipari says, let's go back to us.
Yeah, that looked like it went off Tshiebwe, but great effort by both big guys.
And Calipari's Wildcats, you just saw it there in the bottom left a few moments ago, on the heels of the 11-0 Vandy run, have gone on an 8-zip run of their own.
How about Calipari going with the suit? No tie, but yeah. Both coaches suited and booted tonight.
Yeah, no casual, back to more professional attire. And now Kentucky's lead swells back to 10.
Every time Oscar Tshiebwe gets the ball in the post, it seems like something good happens for Kentucky.
10-6 for the junior. I mean, how does Vanderbilt have to attack him, play him tonight to be successful?
Well, you have to do a great job with your initial post defense. If you can push him off the lane, great, but he does such a great job ducking in. But the question is, do you bring a double? And if you bring a double, he passes out of it. That's going to put you in rotation.
Loose basketball, Washington up ahead. Grady lays it in.
Those are just killer turnovers.
Just like that, a 12-zip Kentucky run.
You cannot defend a run out. Dezzoni just loses the ball, and Kellen Grady able to take it the other way. That's a pick 6 for Kentucky. That would certainly help if Damian Collins and Bryce Hopkins can play more minutes, Seth. But you know, players are always saying they want to play more. Well, wish granted. You do worry a little bit about foul trouble. When Xavier Wheeler gets back, you know, I think their rotation is pretty darn good. Like their first 7 are excellent.
They are experienced, and LaFonso's right on. Unselfish, just an egoless team this year. And even without Xavier Wheeler, John Calipari says he's the engine of this thing, especially offensively. It's a 12-point lead for Kentucky over Vanderbilt. By the way, the Wildcats have won 10 in a row against the Commodores. How about Tshiebwe stretching it out from 15?
Well, that's a difference in his game this year from what he did at West Virginia. That wasn't a shot he took. He's knocked down a few of those in their last game against Georgia. He rattled them in. That one, there was no doubt.
Rough shooting night for Kentucky. 63% from the field and on a 14-0 run.
Well, Kentucky's getting the shot they want just about every time down.
Now it's Pippen. Finally cashes in. Hadn't scored in a few minutes. He's got 13 of Vandy's 24.
Well, he can make individual plays. He does it within the context of the offense, but he's got a ton of ability.
He gets screened. Washington. Oh, he just allowed that to develop, in Tshiebwe with another bucket.
Just a beautiful pocket pass on the short roll. You know, Tshiebwe is good in pick and roll situations because he can catch that ball on a short roll, take it all the way, or he can actually stop and make a pass. But Washington, without Wheeler out there, Washington's done a great job the last couple games. But it does take him away from being, there's Xavier Wheeler right there, leading the Southeastern Conference in assists for the 2nd straight year, about 7.5 a game. It'd be a little bit higher if he missed, you know, he was out against LSU after the first 4 minutes. So that counts as a game where he didn't really play.
Here's Pippen for 3, way off that time. That LSU game, one of just the few stumbles for Kentucky. Lost to Duke opening night, Notre Dame as well, but 12-3, off to a fine start overall. A couple of signature wins as well. Looking to get to 2, make it 3-1 in league play. Washington off the bounce.
Well, he's so patient off of ball screen situations. Instead of just blasting off into the defense, he reads it so well.
The freshman from Arizona, 5-star recruit, so poised, instinctual. Coming off the 17-assist game, Pippen got it from deep.
Boy, just a beautiful play. Came off that hard to get that handoff at the elbow and came off ready to fire.
A 16-point first half for Pippen, nearing his season average. Vandy, though, is down double figures. Washington, not that time from deep.
This is the guy that's got to get going.
Yeah.
Jordan Wright needs to put some points up in this game.
He's second behind Pippen. He'll score about 13 a game, but this evening, nothing. And another empty possession. Here's John Calipari again at Memorial Gym. The benches, the coaches, most of the time on the baseline. You can see there off to the right, the Vanderbilt bench, the unique atypical structure. Grady rises offline that time.
Vanderbilt going with a little zone look on that possession.
And Wright barges into Tshiebwe, now spins.
Tough shot. I mean, Vanderbilt never moved the ball there. It was always on the right side of the floor going against a set defense.
And half a minute to go till half. Kentucky shooting 61% from the field, a 13-point lead. That's a foul on Wright. Just the third team foul on Vandy. Saturday, ABC, 2 Eastern, 11 Pacific, NC State and Duke. Your chance to see Paolo Banchero, the nation's top scoring freshman. And it's also on the app on ABC this Saturday. Tshiebwe attacking.
And what a pass by Ty Washington. He is just cutting up Vanderbilt right now with his vision and the pace he's playing. Draws 2 defenders. Melora Brown has to come over and protect the basket. That opened up the roll for Oscar Tshiebwe.
I should have kept count because you have said that multiple times in this first half. Good pass from Washington. And just his vision, his instincts. And one more, and Kentucky could open up a 15-point lead at the break.
Well, Vanderbilt has not been able to speed up Ty Washington. He's played at his pace.
Vandy basketball, 9.4 left for the Commodores.
And Vandy is usually good in late game, late clock situations. Ran a great play just before halftime against Arkansas to get a lob to Scottie Pippen Jr.
4 seconds, Pippen attacking the layup, and he draws the foul with 1.7 to go.
Just typical Scottie Pippen Jr. gets a little screen on the right side, able to turn the corner, get along the baseline, and draw that contact. Just went right around Bryce Hopkins, and then there's Damian Collins, the outstanding leaper. Boy, it is quite a contest for best athlete on this Kentucky team. I think it's probably either Collins or Jacob Toppin, and that's quite a dunk contest between those two.
The heave, no. And it's a 13-point lead for Kentucky at the break. This duo with 26. 11 out of 15 from the field, and as a team, Kentucky shoots 61% from the floor.
Oscar Tshiebwe doesn't have a double-double at halftime? Come on.
Shocker.
Unusual.
Chief halftime report coming up. Kentucky's up big. Let's go to LaFonso, Kevin, Seth in Bristol. Coming up. Brilliant. You know what else was brilliant? Kentucky shot 61% from the field, 41-28 the lead, Jay, at half.
Well, Kentucky got just about whatever they wanted on the offensive end. For Vanderbilt, it was Scottie Pippen Jr. He had 17 points in that first half. But the Commodores need more out of Miles Studi and Jordan Wright. That combination scoreless in the first half. But Kentucky was excellent. Ran very good offense. You mentioned 61% in that first half. Put up 41 points against a team that's only giving up 64 points a game. You can see the difference in points in the paint that Ty Washington and Oscar Tshiebwe combined for 26. They were excellent in that first half.
You just don't know, too. It's of course Washington and Tshiebwe. They've been excellent, but Grady chips in with 7. Davion Mintz with a couple of threes. He has 6. I mean, this is an explosive and highly efficient Kentucky offense this year.
Well, they were almost as good as Red Panda. You know, Red Panda had 0 turnovers at halftime in a dominant performance, but a scouting report on Red Panda, she's right foot dominant, so you really have to sit on that left foot to limit her effectiveness.
Look, Ty Washington had 17 assists, 2 turnovers on Saturday. That's a good assist to turnover rate. You're saying Red Panda has just a much higher assist to turnover rate every time out.
Well, if he did it on a unicycle, then it would be extraordinarily impressive. But Shea Ralph, the former UConn All-American, was passing her those bowls. And I didn't know that Shea Ralph was that good of a bowl passer. She had 0 turnovers as well. Another great pass inside. Oscar Tshiebwe has just been a dominant presence in the lane.
The Congolese menace, his first full year at Kentucky. Remember, he spent a year and a half at West Virginia. But this has been an incredible breakout year for him. He's got 17 and 7 tonight. Averaging better than 16 points, 15 rebounds per game.
Well, he was a great rebounder at West Virginia, averaged over 9 per game. Just a terrific seal, and you let Oscar Tshiebwe get that deep in the post. When you get both feet in the post, you call that a double bury, and he buried Vanderbilt on that play. But Tshiebwe is such a great rebounder, not just because of his size and his hands and his effort. He is really smart in the way he positions himself, especially on the offensive end.
That time, Washington smothered the Thomas attempt. Brooks bounce pass to Mintz. And Laura Brown cleans it up.
Well, Kentucky wasn't able to capitalize, but yet another relatively easy opportunity.
Oh, boy, the giveaway. It's Grady. And the flush. Kellen Grady.
You know, I think that Pippen would have been better off trying to shoot that ball. I think he might have drawn a foul on a shot, did not draw it on the pass. And those are the kind of turnovers that he's had of late that have led to runouts on the other end.
He's looking for some help, and that time Trey Thomas steps in nicely. He's got another triple. Oh, Mintz is wide open on this end and sticks it.
Now that reminds you of the old Boston Celtics back in the day. You'd score on them, and before you could gather yourself, they're laying it in on the other end.
Now, and Vanderbilt in this game has never led. There's Pippen underneath, affected by Tshiebwe. It at one point went on a 12-0 run in that first half to tie the score. That was answered immediately by a big Kentucky run. So the Wildcats have been up by double figures for much of this game. Tshiebwe, high percentage look, fouled. He's got 2 at the line.
And it was the penetration by Kellen Grady. Anytime the big guy has to help up for penetration, Kentucky's either going to drop it off down low or they're going to throw it right next to the rim for a lob. Tshiebwe, I mean, I know what everybody means when they call him a menace, because you know, he's so productive, but he's such a dignified presence on the floor. I just love watching him play.
Jam-packed January. You like that one? Spanish Super Cup final. We got the Australian Open, the first ever Monday night wild card playoff. It's going to be a good one, by the way. Cardinals, Rams, UFC 270, Saturday the 22nd. A little bit of everything this month on ESPN, ABC, ESPN Deportes, ESPN Plus.
I grew up a Rams fan in Los Angeles. Was heartbroken when they moved to St. Louis, but it's good to have the Rams back in LA.
Boy, quality matchup. We got Kyler Murray, Matt Stafford squaring off a divisional round. That was a wild Week 18, by the way. Here's Thomas wants another 3, and that's his second. He buries another this half.
Well, he is feeling it. I think we mentioned he was excellent in that game against Arkansas. He can shoot it off the dribble, a little bit streaky, but he's on a good streak in this one.
He's got 3 from deep. There you see he's got 11 as well. Now he has done his part. You brought this up earlier. Can guys like Jordan Wright, Miles Stute get going on the offensive end for Vandy? It's got to stay up with Kentucky. 4 to shoot. This is Brooks. He's got to hoist it. Keon Brooks from deep.
Well, that's an area of his game he has improved greatly. He's not been shooting a great percentage from 3, but he's a much more competent shooter from deep and especially mid-range. His release is much higher.
He contests that Stute triple. He drains it.
He's one of the guys that has to get going. He had 19 against South Carolina, 14 against BYU. He leads Vanderbilt in 3-point field goals, had 28 coming into this one.
He was 0 of 3 from deep in that first half. He splashes his first look here in the second. Still a 14-point cushion for Kentucky, who's won 10 straight against Vandy. Tshiebwe offline that time. Brooks taps it back to himself. Melora Brown rejects that one out of bounds.
Keon Brooks with the shot clock winding down. That's 17 points against Missouri. A much improved offensive player for Kentucky.
Kentucky with a 14-point lead early in the second half with Jay Billis, Kevin Fitzgerald with you, and another fine shooting display by the Wildcats. Highly efficient numbers again, Jay.
Well, Kentucky has handled Vanderbilt's pressure very well. This is a good passing team. They move without the ball, and they show great unselfishness. You know, it seems like every player on the floor doesn't care who scores as long as somebody in blue scores. That's a great way to play.
Oftentimes it's been that man, Oscar Tshiebwe. And he draws another whistle.
You know, it's not like Oscar Tshiebwe is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar when he gets the ball in the post. I'm not suggesting that, but when he gets it in the post, Kentucky runs much more efficiently when he's a threat in there because he can score it, and then movement on the perimeter will get openings. And one thing Kentucky, Kevin, has not allowed Vanderbilt to do is slow them down. I think the Wildcats allowed Notre Dame to do that up in South Bend in December, a game that was played in the 60s.
Oh, and since then, Kentucky has gone 5-1. You know, 4 of those wins, they've gone for 90 or more points. And there you go, another 20-point game for Tshiebwe. Here's Stute, lines up another triple, and Washington clears it.
And Vanderbilt not getting any offensive rebounds. The Commodores trying to get back in transition to limit what the Wildcats can do in the open floor. So not a lot of second chance opportunities for the Commodores.
Yep. So just the 3 offensive boards, and meanwhile 40% from the field. And not bad, but your opponent is shooting it much better and at a higher rate.
Kentucky running a little horn set. That's 2 guys up top setting screens, 2 in the corners. And then Tshiebwe just rolls to the basket, and then Keon Brooks pops out.
Pippen got doubled, kicks it to Wright, offline. And here you go, watch Kentucky move, really connected on this end. Grady, he appears, misses.
What a rebound.
Yep, Brooks. It's a couple of times he's just snatched it right over a Commodore, stays here.
Well, he's got a 7'1" wingspan and athletic. But you're right, he's gone over the top, not over the back, but over the top of Vanderbilt players, and he went over the top of Melora Brown there. Or excuse me, that was probably Wright, but Wright was stepping out of bounds and still had a hand on the ball. This is a great rebound by Brooks. Great screen underneath.
Boy, Tshiebwe turned. He didn't realize just how open he was. There was no one behind him for a second. Scores with the left hand that time. 22 and counting. Coming off that career-high 29-point game on Saturday against Georgia.
And Kentucky inbounds it. They're going to look. The inbounder is going to set a screen for Tshiebwe to free him up. And then there's a little screen for the screener action. But if you don't guard that initial action well, it's going to be a layup like it was there.
This 17-point cushion, the largest of the day for Kentucky. And this has happened several times this year. Kentucky just too much firepower. And the key is, can Vanderbilt string some baskets together, but also some stops as well on the other end. Well, his free throw there.
That's the key, is stops. Vanderbilt has to get stops, and Kentucky shooting close to 60% in this game. That's not a formula for Vanderbilt success. But when Xavier Wheeler gets back, I think he's going to get back to a better team than he left. I mean, this has really, in a way, helped Ty Washington to blossom. And when he can get back off the ball, you've got a guy that can run the point and that can hunt his own offense when Wheeler's in there to run the show.
They're both brilliant. They bring something different to the table in a sense each. There's Washington again on the pull-up.
Well, the one thing you cannot do with this lineup is you can't play off anybody. When Wheeler's in the game, Notre Dame did it. They played 10 feet off of Xavier Wheeler and really clogged things up in the middle, made it more difficult. And with this lineup you can't do that.
Meanwhile, Scottie Pippen Jr., Jay, he's got 21 points on 11 attempts. He's hit 5 triples and a handful of points at the free throw line as well.
Oh, he's a player. He just needs some help out of his teammates in this one.
Yes, he does. Tshiebwe right to the rack, fouled on the way in.
Bring 2 to the ball. Tshiebwe made himself available and just had a open lane to the basket.
It's such a uniquely constructed Kentucky roster this year. You've got the 5-star talent that you typically see in Lexington. That's a player like Washington. You've got the 6 transfers. That's the most ever on a roster at any time in Cal's tenure.
And you have a number of specialists on this team. Yep. Tshiebwe, a specialist on the glass. Xavier Wheeler, a specialist in running a team and his assist rate. He's in the top 20 in the country in assist rate, leading the SEC in assists. I mean, heck, you got 2 guys on this team that set Kentucky records in Rupp Arena. 28 rebounds against Western Kentucky for Tshiebwe, and then 17 assists for Ty Washington against Georgia.
Pippen's going to have himself an easy one in transition.
Yeah, that's been their first easy basket in the open floor.
A 15-point cushion for Kentucky. The Wildcats trying to get to 3-1 in league play.
Little zone look right now for Vanderbilt, bringing the wings up a little bit, trying to match up out of it.
You like it?
Yeah, it gives a different look, but Keon Brooks wide open in the middle.
There he is. He attacks, lays it up, count it, and the foul.
Brooks just completely discarded Trey Thomas. Put him down. Watch, Thomas goes down, then completely wide open. Thomas was saying, hey, Mr. Referee, I don't think you can do that.
Oh, it's 6'7" and 215 pounds coming at him. He can't complete the 3-point play, but you've got a player like Keon Brooks, the captain, averaging a career best in points per game.
Second leading rebounder, but how about this? Oscar Tshiebwe averages more offensive rebounds than any teammate averages total rebounds.
Yeah.
Now, if I were a Kentucky player, I'd say, well, he's getting them all. How do you want us to get him if he's getting them all?
It's unreal. A foul on the floor. And Kentucky's lead is its largest, I should say second largest of the night. 17-point advantage inside Memorial Gym. You've seen the dazzling display of basketball from Ty Washington tonight. He's one of the best freshmen in the SEC. Matter of fact, he's one of the best freshman guards in the country. This is a good luck to whoever has to play 5s against this unit. Some extremely talented first-year players in the SEC this year. Here are their ESPN 100 ranks. You know, Jay, Jabari Smith at Auburn, he came into the league this year with high expectations, next level type talent. Boy, he is He has really lived up to the hype, hasn't he?
I think he's exceeded those expectations.
Yep.
You know, Jabari Smith, there have been a lot of people who said he's the closest thing to Kevin Durant they've seen in college since Durant was at Texas. Now, that doesn't suggest that Jabari Smith is as good as Kevin Durant, but he certainly reminds you of Durant. He is a smooth shooter at 6'10". Not many players can do what he can do. Kennedy Chandler's been fantastic at Tennessee. Tennessee will be here for Vanderbilt's next home game. Now, this league is a bear, just an absolute bear.
Hey, you said it earlier. It feels like maybe the strongest conference in college hoops right now, doesn't it?
I think it's the best.
Yeah.
I mean, the Big Ten has the most player of the year candidates. I think Oscar Tshiebwe of Kentucky is a national player of the year candidate, but you start looking at guys like Kofi Coburn of Illinois, Keegan Murray of Iowa, Johnny Davis of Wisconsin's been outstanding, E.J. Liddell of Ohio State, Trace Jackson Davis at Indiana. I mean, the list of big guys in the Big Ten is kind of staggering.
Foul on Brooks on the inside. Coming up on the midway mark of the second half. Boy, with that latest Kentucky basket, the lead is 19. Thomas, it's the second time he's hit one from that corner.
Yeah, you really have to be on him. If you make him drive, make him finish at the basket because he's small. You know, make him take a tough two or pass it, because if he's able to get his feet set, you know, it's been nothing but the bottom of the net in this one.
Yeah, Thomas, the sophomore from Durham, Ontario. Very reliable shooter. Bryce Hopkins into the game, the freshman. He chases down his own miss. Washington, that mid-range game is so strong for the freshman.
You know, off that screen roll action, Bryce Hopkins did a really nice job. They call it shake action. He comes up from the corner, and when he caught it, he got downhill right away. He's going to be a good player. To Seth Greenberg's point, when Collins and Hopkins, as they mature, Kentucky's going to get that much better.
Thomas on the pull-up, and the rebound to Tshiebwe.
See, and that's the shot you want him to take, that tough two.
Oh, Mintz had the right idea. He was looking for Hopkins. He tried to squeeze it through the window. Yeah, there's contact, a player down. That time
Thomas
it's Thomas
was out of bounds, but he got fouled.
Bang. It was Washington who ricocheted into him. So Kentucky basketball. And Mintz to inbound.
So the two three-point shooters, Mintz and Washington. Everybody else more of a driver or interior player.
That's Hopkins, Tshiebwe, and then Toppin. Tshiebwe, count it! He's at the line for one more.
Really good awareness by Hopkins. Looked like he was going to rise up for that shot, but caught that Tshiebwe was wide open on that little roll. And man, just a little bit out of position coming over from the weak side. Got him in the air and then drew the contact to finish with the left hand.
Boy, you look up and it's 26 points for Tshiebwe, make it 27. You mentioned before, okay, he may not be Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You see that number 34. He always liked Hakeem the Dream. And where's 34 in his honor?
Hey, he does say that soccer was a big factor in his development. So maybe he's not Kareem, but Moses Malone ain't bad. But that was more to get the ball to him in the post. I mean, he's such a presence in there.
Thomas, the floater that time, left it short.
And that was good defense by Tshiebwe. Stayed in front of him, made him take a really difficult shot instead of allowing him space to get up a three. It seems like a small thing, but that's a big-time play by Oscar Tshiebwe.
He wants it. Strong offensive rebound to Toppin for the slam.
Toppin's holding his head. Did he dunk on his own head?
What do we got? I think we got him at a 42-inch vertical leap.
Yeah, you know you're a leaper when you dunk on your own head.
With that offensive board, by the way, it's another double-double for Oscar Tshiebwe. He's got 27 and 10 on 10 of 13 shooting from the floor. Washington misfires that time. It's just so easy right now for Tshiebwe.
Well, it looks easy because he's such a hard worker.
Yep.
And that was one of the first ones because he couldn't grab it with two hands. He just tipped it to himself. Middle ball screen. He draws attention, then still gets it.
And he just got to foul him there. But even with the contact, he could score it.
You're having to rotate over. And good luck trying to stop a Mack truck in the middle of the lane. A Mack truck with touch. Oscar Tshiebwe has not been good. He has been great. And he's been great all season long.
Time for tonight's Capital One rewarding performance. And Jay, this is no shocker. Oscar Tshiebwe is a point away from setting a new career high. He's got 29 and 11.
ESPN News reporting Oscar Tshiebwe is the player of the game. Still close to 8 minutes to go, but Tshiebwe has set himself apart in this one with his work rate, his productivity, and he's about to step to the line with an opportunity to hit 30 in this game. Set a new career high.
And it's just incredible, the leap from a year ago. And remember, he left West Virginia midway through the year, kind of a dubious season, and just a breakout junior season in Kentucky.
Well, he's continued to develop, and the Kentucky staff has done a great job, not only with Tshiebwe, but Kellen Grady. Kellen Grady's quickened up his release, and Grady gave some credit to the idea that keeping his head still and not letting it rock back has really helped his shooting. But at Davidson, they ran a lot of motion. They didn't shoot the ball as quickly as Kentucky does, so he's had to be ready to fire quicker here than he was at Davidson. He's a 2,000-point scorer at Davidson. He's a big-time player.
And it goes back to your point, just Kentucky with some players that could specialize. It's Grady as the shooter, Tshiebwe as the rebounder. Meanwhile, Scottie Pippen Jr. missed that free throw, but he's got 25. And he has had to be option A, B, and C at times tonight, outside of what Trey Thomas has provided. Just two Commodores in double figures. That's it. And remember, Vandy playing. Oh, look at this. The lob to Toppin. Taken off from way outside the paint.
Well, Kentucky doing a really nice job of spreading the floor and not settling for action on the first side of the floor. Get it to the second side and took advantage of it on a ball reversal.
I think it was that 42-inch vertical leap once again. He snares another rebound.
And he's got another step on his ladder that most players can't imagine.
My goodness. Again, it's just been a difficult night for Vandy. Playing without Rodney Chapman. Look at this one, by the way.
Just a little screen roll on an open side. Laura Brown late getting there. It's awfully nice for Davion Mintz to know that he can throw it as high as he wants. You know, Jacob Toppin's biggest concern was making sure he didn't hit his head on the rim.
Yeah, you just beat me to it. I think he took care of the noggin this time. Boy, a great energy player off the bench, the junior from Brooklyn. Again, if the last name is familiar, Obi, his brother, he was a high-flying player as well at Dayton. And you see the similarities there.
And Rodney Chapman, who's out for Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt also missing Liam Robbins, who transferred in from Minnesota, started his career at Drake. When they get Robbins back, which is expected sometime in February, he'll be their starting center and likely second leading scorer.
I led the Big Ten a year ago in blocks per game, and you're right, he could shoot it, he could score. There's Bryce Hopkins. And Kentucky's lead grows to 28. Again, the largest of the evening, coming up on the 6-minute mark.
Hopkins is going to be a good player.
Yeah.
Like, he's had some really good minutes in this game. He's a top 50 recruit. He committed originally to Louisville, but he's versatile and he can be a post presence at times when he wants to be. But at his size. He's physical, can be imposing. He's got good upside.
Tshiebwe gets the ovation. You think that's going to endear you with Wildcat fans? Decommit from Louisville and then go play at Kentucky.
Oh, they knew that already.
Damian Collins wants one. And the rebound down to Shane Dezzoni. Earned his first start of the year today with Chapman out. Freshman on the attack, lays it in. Pretty move.
Well, Jordan Wright has really improved his game from last year to this. He had 15 against South Carolina, knocked down 4 threes in that game. But he's an athletic wing, and you can see he makes plays going to his left.
Washington got tied up momentarily by Pippen. And eventually does force the tie-up. Vanderbilt basketball.
Well, Vanderbilt's trying to take some chances. They're putting 2, that time 3 on the ball. And if you throw out of that, you're going to have some good opportunities on the backside. But Ty Washington just couldn't throw out. A little horn set now for Vanderbilt.
And Stute launches and he splashes a deep 3. And that's Miles Stute.
It just went off one side, then a screen on the other. And it's been pretty rare for Vanderbilt to get that kind of open shot in this game.
That's just their 6th, make it their 10th, pardon. They're 10 of 26 from deep. Oh. Collins, the takeoff was maybe a little too aggressive. He still tried to lay it up there with both hands.
You give him credit, he took it hard.
Look at Pippen, that quick burst to the rack. You know, it's odd to say a 27-point game maybe overshadowed, but that's how good Kentucky has been offensively today. Lob this one up, and Laura Brown was able to knock it loose. Pippen, hesitation, drive and kick. 3 in the corner, the lefty this time, Gabe Dorsey, who hasn't played the last couple of games, misfires. Pippen says, I've got one more. And he converts, now 29.
Well, that's an example of Scottie Pippen Jr. using, shot fakes and ball fakes to get the defender off balance. Alert play to take it away. Boy, it is hard to find wins in this league, and Kentucky getting any road win in this league is big.
Yep.
A little floppy set for Kellen Grady.
Toppin kicks out. Grady with 1. He's got to just let it fly. Shot clock violation. Kentucky 3:27 away from winning its 11th straight against Vandy. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle auto, home, or motorcycle insurance. Visit progressive.com. Big one, top 25 battle. It's coming up in about 20 minutes. What an evening for Oscar Tshiebwe, the first Kentucky player with 30 and 10 since Tayshaun Prince. That was back in 2001 against North Carolina.
Played for the great Tubby Smith at Kentucky. And it was so nice to see Tubby Smith, now the coach at High Point, honored at Rupp Arena, getting a banner up in Rupp. Would have been nicer to give him some soft serve ice cream. I mean, that's the real honor at Rupp. Yeah. Have you had that?
It sounds like I know what I'm getting next time I'm in Rupp Arena.
Off the charts.
Are you a chocolate vanilla swirl soft serve guy?
It doesn't matter. Whatever they have there, I'm eating it. It's outstanding.
Get the best of both worlds there.
I mean, you think back to some of the teams that Tubby Smith had, obviously winning the national championship in 1998, but could have easily won it in 03 when they lost to Marquette, when Dwayne Wade had that triple-double. If I remember right, Keith Bogans was injured. It was either Keith Bogans or Joe Crawford, but they had a great opportunity. Dezzoni taking it all the way, got the foul on Tshiebwe. But he also had other opportunities to get to the champion. Remember, they lost a game against Michigan State Patrick Sparks hit that big shot.
Yes.
Overtime game. And Tubby had some great teams at Kentucky.
Yeah,
and I still think one of the all-time great runs in college basketball history was 96, 97, 98. I mean, Kentucky was an overtime period against Arizona from a three-peat. And in today's game, I mean, that's extraordinary.
I mean, several times they ran through the SEC, went undefeated, won a couple of SEC titles with unblemished marks. And you're right on. They dominated.
And that 96 team that Rick Pitino had is still one of the historically great teams in college basketball. I'm actually going to see one of their former players, Mark Pope, when BYU takes on Gonzaga on Thursday.
That was New Year's Eve, by the way. Basketball stays here, but you're right. High Point visited Rupp Arena, and his name, his banner lifted up to the rafters.
Just the way his former players talked about his impact, not just on the court, but the kind of man that Tubby Smith is and has been. I mean, there's not a better human being that's coached college basketball than Tubby Smith. Just a wonderful person.
Meanwhile, Scottie Pippen Jr., it may be in a losing effort. We'll see. There's still less than 2 minutes to go, but 32 points on 6 of 11 shooting from deep.
Yeah, Kentucky was able to absorb several fouls there getting the ball up court, but
and then you get the zoning for that one. And Jerry Stackhouse's team, we've highlighted it, playing without Rodney Chapman. That's one of their starting guards. No Liam Robbins all year. Expected back maybe early February, Jerry said the other day.
Well, Robbins is going to make a big difference if he comes back healthy. He's a skilled big guy at 7 feet, can step away, can post. You know, he averaged almost 3 blocks a game at Minnesota. He's the nephew of Ed Conroy, a former head coach at Tulane, who's on Jerry Stackhouse's staff.
Now here's who Kentucky has coming up, and you will see them play Tennessee inside Rupp Arena. Make note, all soft serve vendors inside the facility. You know, that's a good defensive Volunteers team. Here's the upcoming schedule.
And Texas A&M is really playing well of late. That's a team that forces a ton of turnovers, forces about 19 per game. And then at Auburn, that place is a sweat box that's tough to win.
On the drive, Quentin Millara-Brown tips it back in. So it's back to a 12-point game. There's 60 seconds left. Studi got his hand on that one.
Well, Vanderbilt has continued to play.
Yeah.
And this is probably something that they should have done a little bit earlier, is bring a little bit more full court pressure. I mean, the game's well in hand for Kentucky. I know John Calipari wants them to finish it out better than they are right now.
A bizarre finish, and Kentucky had a 28-point lead. Since that moment in the game, Vandy's on a 16-0 run to have it back to a 12-point game. Mintz floats it up. That's offline and stays here. You mentioned Auburn coming up next. It's the in-state battle. You've got a top 25 clash, Auburn, Alabama. Our friends Carl Ravitch, Jimmy Dykes have that one for you in about 15 minutes right here on ESPN. And Auburn has ascended back inside the top 5 for the first time in more than 2 decades.
Good fake.
Toppin rises. Mintz tips it out. And John Calipari says, let's hold. Let's use the remainder of this shot clock. But Kentucky, just so much firepower. 53% shooting from the field, 50% from deep. They hit 10 free throws and overwhelmed Vanderbilt on the offensive side often tonight.
Yeah, we've talked about the Southeastern Conference being perhaps the best conference in the country. And one of the measures is in this league, you can play well and lose. And to me, that's the mark of a great league.
Kentucky's going to make it 11 in a row against Vanderbilt. And back-to-back wins after that LSU loss. 78-66 the final. We'll have the boss in a few minutes. We'll talk to John Calipari momentarily. But Jay, Kentucky 53% from the field. It wasn't just Oscar Tshiebwe. Ty Washington with 15. Davion Mintz, Kellen Grady hit shots when they had to. And this is a highly efficient offense.
Well, Kentucky didn't finish out the game the way John Calipari wanted. But overall, an outstanding performance without the engine of this team. Xavier Wheeler still out with that neck strain from the LSU game. First 4 minutes when he, look at Oscar Tshiebwe. What a nice
He's got
guy,
that good smile too. He's gonna show that off.
Well, he was outstanding. I mean, just everywhere.
And the 30 points and the 13 rebounds for Oscar Tshiebwe. We have the head man, John Calipari, is with us, Coach. Thank you for joining us post-game here. We're just talking about Oscar. It's another impressive performance, the 30 and 13. Just how do you describe his relentlessness and his work on the floor?
He's one of the hardest working kids that I've had, and we're holding him accountable. We have our evaluating sprints. They're graded for the whole game if they don't sprint. So all of a sudden he's beating guys up the court. The second thing is his body is so big, he's a terrific screener on a ball screen. You could say what you want, but when you're 255, you know, it's a tough thing. And then Ty plays games in that pick and roll that makes us pretty good. But, you know, again, I thought Keon played way better today. He's doing some good stuff. Our defense was good. I'm just, and you two know I'm aggravated at the last 5 minutes. Come on.
Yeah.
You know, but look, let's take this and walk. You know, it's a hard court to play on, but it was a good win.
Cal, do you feel that with Xavier Wheeler out, the way that Ty Washington has played, that Wheeler's going to come back to a better Kentucky team than he left?
Well, look, when I had Jamal, when I had Tyrese, when I had guys playing off the ball that were like Ty, you won't believe this. He may run the wing, but he'll eventually get it and be able to make plays. I mean, but I'll tell you what Xavier does. His ball pressure, his disruptiveness, and his speed with the ball makes us run faster. And so, yeah, how about Davion today?
Yep.
Davion played great. Kellen's playing good. I mean, you know, I was so happy for Bryce. The issue, and Jay, you know this, high school kids don't understand the level, pace, and speed of a college game. So if they don't practice that way, they get in the game and they're behind the action. Leads to bad shots, turnovers, you're behind the action on defense. We've been on it with him and he's responded. Instead of pouting, he's responded. So you see him today played pretty darn good. Played good.
Well, I'll tell you, John, what I don't understand is you've gone casual for most of the season, and you've gone back to suited and booted. Like, what is the deal?
My son, bought suits. And always been every game are we wearing suits. So I finally, and again, you guys have to understand, I have to sleep with that kid's mom. You know that. And so he's been all over me about wearing suits, and I'm sweating. I hate it. I'll go back and change as soon as I go in the back.
You talk about accountability. You have a great accountable tailor as well. Woo. It doubles as your son, Brad. Coach, 78-66 win. We appreciate the time. Good luck. Kentucky now 3-1 in league play, making 11 in a row against Vanderbilt. We'll head to the studio in a moment. For Jay Billis and our entire great crew, I'm Kevin Fitzgerald saying so long from Nashville. Let's go to Bristol.
Seth.